I'd like to see a ceasefire immediately. We're going to need a ceasefire because a couple of the chemical sites are still forbidden to the chemical inspectors because of the ongoing fighting. But yesterday, the International Crisis Group, where I'm chair of the board, issued a very important statement making it clear that a humanitarian tragedy is unfolding, that many people are dying for lack of humanitarian assistance, and there ought to be a ceasefire to promote that. How and in what way is there a reconfiguration of Syrian governance without Assad, in my view, that will in fact begin to put it back on track, keep it together? These are very difficult questions, given the divisions among the various people who are now involved in the Syrian problem. It was clear the president, and I have a lot of sympathy for the president on this, didn't want to enter another boots on the ground, otherwise type of conflict in the Middle East. And I have sympathy for them, and they struggled with that, and they did as good a job as anybody could have done under the circumstances. But who now thinks the U.S. military is the answer to all problems? And to some extent, as a former American diplomat, I would have rather had the military bigger than life than smaller than life. But we're trending toward the smaller in life piece because I don't think it's the appropriate tool for solving these problems. There is a great deal of destabilization in the region, not good, not in the interest of anybody. Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, and South Turkey are all subject to this. There's every reason in the world to think that there needs to be some way out, and there is, in my humble view, no military solution. If there were a military solution, the people who promised it would happen in 3 months, 2 years ago, would be crowing now and saying they were right. I think, unfortunately, they were wrong because a lot of people have died since then. But there is now an opportunity, a very slim one, to stop it. But all wars end with political implications, with political connotations. And if we don't help shape those in a diplomatic conference among the political parties, particularly the Syrians, we're going to end up with whatever it is that fate hands us as a result. And that's not, in my view, a good way to run your diplomacy. So this is not a trivial affair. If I were Assad, I'd be worried about the Russians shifting ground and punishing him for using these. And recently there have been rumors that the Russians have been very freely saying they don't really care about Assad, they care about the future of Syria, that it holds together, that in fact it represents a stable force in the region. Some of the things we agree to, and that may be a basis for moving from the destruction of chemical weapons, in which we both agree, to some other view about the future of Syria other than President Assad. I hope so. I think it can happen. But I have to tell you, it'll take a lot of hard diplomatic work to get there. Well, I think that they've sent a signal. I think that signal was aimed at the United States. I think that signal was designed to indicate their concern. They have reasons to be concerned as things shift. Certainly the Iranian opening is something they're concerned about. I think that we have a measure of responsibility to reassure them that we're not rushing headlong into Iran and making an agreement that will not be in the interest of the region. I think Secretary Kerry has a good view of the situation. He knows what's possible, and he knows, in fact, that this is not an effort to turn the tables, but to improve the situation. And I would hope that both Saudi Arabia and Israel would recognize that military action wasn't going to solve this problem, that we now have an opening, a small one, for a diplomatic solution. Let's see what we can do. We had been clearly talking with the Russians for at least a year and a half or more about the danger that was posed by the potential for Assad using these weapons. So this was not a brand new subject.
Special Coordinator Sigrid Kaag just updated the Council on the OPCW UN Joint Mission's progress on eliminating Syria's declared chemical weapons program. She outlined the U.S. ship Cape Ray's completed destruction of Syria's most dangerous declared chemicals and discussed plans to destroy the remaining chemical weapons production facilities. She also noted the Technical Secretariat's continuing work to address discrepancies and omissions related to the original Syrian declaration. On this point, a number of Council members stressed how important it was to resolve questions with regard to the Syrian government's omissions and discrepancies in its original declaration. Some Council members raised their concerns about the Syrian government's use of chlorine gas, as reported by the UN Human Rights Council's Commission of Inquiry last month. While the joint mission's formal role winds down on September 30th, Council members noted that the elimination effort is not complete. The Council expressed thanks to Secretary General Bond for his willingness to exercise good offices in furtherance of the implementation of Security Council Resolution 2118. Some Council members, including the United States, expressed a desire for monthly updates on continuing efforts to completely eliminate the Syrian CW program.